public perception in a downward spiral. Many Americans have mocked Biden for seemingly feeling comfortable enough to use his executive power to bomb militias, while also expressing apprehension towards using the same power to forgive student loans. Oh,
Oh my
oh
God.
my God. Okay, so let's just have the working class pay for everyone's higher education.
No, let's not open. Don't
Okay,
open
well,
that can of worm. That like
I just think
no,
that's some of the. I hate
it's not
this
comparable.
forgiveness student loans. It's not.
Feeling
It's so
comfortable
stupid.
enough to use his executive power to bomb militias. I mean, well, towards using that same power to forgive student loans. I mean, this is a main role of a president, is to respond. Like, this is something that the entire country has to debate and discuss. I mean, you could be on the side on whether or not he should be used his executive powers or not. Okay, I think it was fine for him to use his executive powers to undo everything that Trump did, because it's like when he did that, it wasn't an overusage of executive power. It was basically undoing the overusage of executive power. Right? This is something that I think more people need to be involved in discussing, whether this is like, whatever your decision, whatever side you're on. I think like using taxpayer money to do something like this needs to have a lot of people involved in discussing whether this is a good idea or not, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to the president defending American citizens, that's their like, yeah, we need quick action on that. If somebody attacks Americans, like, you need to respond like right away. That's what a president. That's one of the main responsibilities of a president. Anyways.
Okay, well, let's continue. Others pushed back against the idea that the airstrike was a form of defensive retaliation. So, from Caitlin Johnstone, this latest Biden airstrike is being spun as defensive and retaliatory, despite its targeting a nation the U.S. invaded, Syria, in response to alleged attacks on U.S. forces in another nation the U.S. invaded, Iraq. You can't invade a nation and then claim self-defense there, ever.
What are you talking about? Wait. Targeting a nation the U.S. invaded? Okay, that nation that you're talking about, it's a war zone right now, okay? There's many different actors there. Syrian agents, it wasn't Syrian military, okay. It wasn't Syrian agents that were attacked. It was Iranian agents. Just because they happened to be in Syria, people are like, oh, the attack was in Iraq, but you attacked people in Syria. Well, because the people in Syria that were attacked were Iranian agents, and the people who did the attack in Iraq were also Iranian agents. How do you not see the connection?
Some of the worst analysis I've seen of this is just people saying that Biden bombed Syria.
Biden bombed Syria?
He didn't bomb Syria. Like, he's targeting Iranian-backed militias. There's a difference.
By the way, do you guys know that if okay, so again, there are good arguments for United States leaving Syria, and there's some bad arguments, and there's also good arguments for United States staying in Syria. That's another debate. That's another discussion. Okay, but you do understand that if United States not being in Syria doesn't make Syria all of a sudden not a war zone. That is not like it's not gonna. Assad autonomy is not guaranteed. It's not going to be like, oh yeah, Assad, but like Turkey is in, like, there's so many different agents right now in Syria fighting with each other, and this is a war zone. There is no autonomy of like a stable government right now that is going on there. That if United States leaves, all that will be guaranteed. In fact, it will probably be more chaotic right now in Syria if United States leaves, right? So this idea of this is an invasion, I mean, Syria was invaded by ISIS before. Like, I don't understand. Like, this again, I'm not saying that United States being the way United States have done has made so many bad decisions in Syria, okay, and has funded a lot of shady groups that are responsible for 9/11. United States funded them. Amazing, right? So there are a lot of criticism against United States and what they did in Syria. Okay, here's
Mhm.
the binary way people think about these things. They think like, oh, bad intervention. United States did bad intervention here, bad intervention there. So let's just do no intervention. Like, how about good intervention? Like, I know, like, it's hard to think about there's such being such a thing as good intervention, given the bad record of United States interventions. But it's possible for you to be a source for good like a stabilizing force in a region. Okay, and again, that is in the best. If United States manages to do that, it is in the best interest of American citizens. Like, this idea of United States not being involved anywhere that would be better for Americans, it's such a simplistic way of looking at the world, right? There are, like, the United States is a superpower, and it has interests all around the world, and it has bases, and it has like companies and organizations and citizens all around the world. And I think this whole binary of either bad intervention or no intervention is just such a simplistic way of looking at it. There is a way to push United States for being a force for not only something that is in the best interest for Americans around the world, but also for United States to be a stabilizing agent, and also for an agent that is responsible for promoting fighting against human rights abuses. Okay, as a country, again, I'm not saying it is right. It is even close to that right now, but that's what you should be pushing for instead of no intervention, because that's a dream that's never going to happen. United States is a superpower. How could it not have the idea of like it not intervening around the world is a joke. Even countries that are not, like, even the most pathetic, weakest countries around the world, they intervene outside of their borders because they know it's in their interests, right? Like, if you have trades all around the world, and you want to make sure that those different seas, different ports, different canals, they're all your trade agents, they have safe passage, that it's in the best interest of the whole world, for example, for superpowers to make sure that there's some level of security around the planet. It's in the interest of not just American citizens, but every citizen and around any country. So maybe, like, if more people push for smart intervention rather than no intervention, I think it would be easier to get results, because no intervention is like an unattainable dream. But anyways.
And you're also leaving a lot of like innocent civilians to be killed and abused.
Yeah, it just flies in the face of never again, never forget. Yeah. Like, let's do no intervention. Yeah, future generations are going to look at you and going to be like, wait, what happened to never forget? What happened to never again? And here's another thing. One form of intervention that I'm very in favor of is having world organizations that you work with, like in cooperation with other countries, other civilized countries, like not going it on your own, like working with European countries, for example, working with the United Nations when you go and intervene, right? And this intervention, what I heard, and I could be wrong, is that this was done with the knowledge and cooperation of other countries. Like, this was not like, hey, we did it, we didn't let anyone know. Like, okay, but I might be wrong about that, but that's the report that I got. But anyways, let's continue.
Okay, so scroll past this tweet. Okay, some of the biggest criticism of the president received came from those who said it seemed like his priorities were off base, because while the airstrike was conducted, Congress was debating his $1.3 trillion stimulus package. Civil rights activist Jamal Green, for instance, tweeted, "We didn't flip Georgia blue for Biden to airstrike Syria." Oh my God. We flipped Georgia blue for our $2,000 stimulus checks.
What do these people want? Like, wouldn't, like, if for example, if Iranian-backed militia, like, kill an American overseas and Biden just does no response, like, would these, as American citizens, wouldn't you be angry with your president? Like,
I don't think
if you just let it go, if you just,
I don't think they pay attention to stuff like that.
No, but shouldn't you get angry like if your president is completely like if your citizens are being killed or attacked, and your citizen and your president make it seem like it didn't even happen? Like, you wouldn't even expect this from not a non-superpower, right? Like, if your country was just an average or even a weak country, right? And like, forget even being attacked. Like, we criticize Australia for not attacking like not going after a country when Zara K was like being abused in Tanzania. Like, we're like, God damn it, Australia, your citizen is stuck in another country and you're not doing
Yeah.
much to help her, right? So, and like, even a country, I don't know, like a small Eastern European country, if there's, or like here, like for example, Ukrainian citizens were killed by Iran because of Iran's government shot a missile at a plane and killed Ukrainian citizens. Okay, that happened, and Ukraine is like really pushing hard against Iran right now because of that, right? So any country, even the smallest, like, and Ukraine is like a weak country, right? But even the weakest countries, if your government doesn't respond to your citizens being attacked, the citizens of the country were like, "What? Why do we even have a government for? You guys are supposed to protect us." So now you have a superpower, and you have militias throwing missiles at your citizens, and you guys like, what do you expect? You want like zero responses? And I know what some people say. Like, people will say like, "Well, we shouldn't even be there." Okay, even if that's your position, Biden is like he's trying, like he says he's trying to get you out. I don't know if he's going to keep that promise or not. It's not like he could do that in the first goddamn month, right?
Right.
But while maybe like you could criticize him, 6 months down the road if he doesn't get you out like as much as you want it, right? But while you are there, if you get attacked, there needs to be a goddamn response. Anyways, that's good.
However, it's worth noting that there's not much Biden can do right now to push a stimulus package through Congress other than attempts to convince some on the fence senators like Joe Manchin. I think that's how you say his name. Still, the perception of the confused priorities was enough to anger many. And that's the thing, guys, like, we're waiting for Congress to do this. Okay, anyways, all of this likely didn't help when the EU foreign policy chief, on behalf of all the countries who signed the Iran nuclear deal, attempted to convince Iran to engage in informal talks to try and restart the deal on Sunday. A proposal was shot down by Iran. Considering the recent actions and statements by the United States and 3 European powers, Iran does not consider this the time to hold an informal meeting with these countries, said Foreign Ministry spokesperson Syed. How would you say that?
Saeed Khatibzadeh.
Thank you.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of blasphemy and sexy Kali, like me, then that means that you probably want more blasphemous art. Well, I have good news for you. If you subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below, then you get a free booklet of some of the tastiest blasphemous art available today. So, if you want some of this delicious blasphemy, and we're so generous that we update it for you guys weekly for free, all you have to do is sign up for our newsletter below. You can also go to blasphemousart.com/ebook. That's blasphemousart.com/ebook. Sign up with your email, and you get free gifts of this tasty blasphemy. What could be better? So make sure you sign up. Link below.